This is MikeBot. Today I'm going to be doing the AMS Lite top mount walkthrough. So you want to start by printing all your 3D parts, and you can grab those from MakerWorld. I'll include a link in the description. You're going to need some lubricant, a toothbrush to put the lubricant on, and most importantly the top mount screws that I showed at the beginning of the video. Those screws are about $2 on the Bambu site. So once you have all your stuff gathered and all your parts printed, you want to grab the parts that I'm showing in the video here. Next, you want to take your lubricant and you want to apply lubricant onto the first part. And you can use the toothbrush there. So there's the first part that I grabbed, and that's the only part that's going to need lubricant. So make sure you properly lubricate it, because that's the part that's going to be swiveling mostly. You then want to grab the lubricated part and the second part I have in my arm there, and you want to put them together, turn, and make sure they lock into place like so. Next, you are going to need this small part. So you want to take that small part and you want to insert it into the hole there. And it slips in very easily. There shouldn't be any resistance or any issues. If you have any resistance or issues, you're doing it wrong, start again. So that's how simple it should be and easy to pop into the spot there. Next, you want to grab that little screw. There's two of them. It doesn't matter which one you use. I applied grease to it to make it go in easier. But basically, you can lubricate it or you can choose not to. If you lubricate it, it slips in a lot easier. And then you want to turn it in until it's nice and tight. But don't over tighten it. You will crack it since this is PLA you're working with. Even if you're working with Petchy, you can still snap it. So be very careful with it. Next, you're going to grab that last part from the first three parts I showed you, and it just clips right into there. So when I did this in the video, originally I put it in wrong. Put it in the opposite direction that I'm going to put it in this video. With this part here, once it's in, it's got to lock in with two screws, and I lubricated the holes and the screws just to make sure everything slips in. I also had some extra support still inside there, so I'm just scraping it out here. Like you can see with the video, and I used a scriber to use that. I have a set of scribers. If you don't, make sure you get some. They're very, very handy to have with support removals and most 3D printing things actually. So in the top mount kit, you would have received three different sets of screws. You want to start with the top mount latch screws, because that's what's going to be used to secure the first three parts in the assembly process. For the next part, you're going to need to get your damper and slide them both into the Z-axis stiffeners. So there's two of them. Make sure you slip both in, and that's pretty much it for this part. The next portion of the video is going to be directly at the printer itself, the A1. Begin by prepping your A1. Make sure the power is disconnected, all the PTFE tubes are disconnected, there's no cables dangling, and the AMS has been disconnected. Otherwise, it's going to make this next portion very difficult. So from there, you want to grab your C-clamps and you want to twist them in slowly and then turn them towards you. So this is, we're facing the back of the printer now, and the C-clamps are going to be facing towards you or the back of the printer. So you put them in, kind of just snug them in, twist them a little bit, and then turn them. Once they're turned, you're ready to attach the legs. So you can slow this video down and pause at any time and go back, but for the sake of this video not being 3 hours long, I had to speed it up. So once you grab your two legs, put them into the C-clamps, and then you're going to need your C-clamp screws. There's two screws on each side, sorry, 4 screws on each side of each of the legs. So 2 on the left, 2 on the right for the left leg, 2 on the left, 2 on the right for the right leg. And you just screw them in, use a little bit of lubricant if you like to make it easier. And then we are ready for the next step here. Next, you want to mount that part that we assembled on top of the AMS, like I've shown in the video here. So take note, I did install it wrong in the beginning of the video, but I adjusted it. It's supposed to lock into place as you see in the video here. If your AMS is still new, skip this part of the video. If not, make sure you remove your filament, or I should say your spools, from the AMS just like I'm doing here. Make sure there's nothing connected. Disconnect the PTFE tubes on top. Make sure your AMS is in new condition, because the next step here is we need to remove that bottom stand of the AMS unit. So it's 4 screws holding it. Once you remove that stand, then we can proceed to the next part. Once the stand is removed, it should just be the white portion of the AMS Lite. Now we need to mount the white part of the AMS Lite on top of that blue piece that's been assembled. So if you have your external spool holder connected or attached, make sure you remove that because you're no longer going to be able to use it. And I'll show you at the end of this video what I have done to create an external spool holder attachment. So basically, to mount this white part of the AMS, or the main unit of the AMS, on top of the blue piece, it's 4 screws. And in the package, it's going to be the same screws you use to connect that legs to the C-clamps. So there should be 4 screws left, and you're going to use those 4 screws to connect the AMS to the blue part. When you put the AMS body on top, make sure ports 3 and 4 are facing you. So grab the last 4 of the M3-10 screws and tighten the AMS body onto the mount. Make sure the plug is routed accordingly so it doesn't get in the way and you don't nick it with the screws when you're doing them. So I'm just going to fast forward this part here. You don't really need to see me putting in the 4 screws. So go ahead now and plug your AMS cable back into the back of the printer, and the last part of this is to clip the PTFE tube guides. So there should have been 2 of them that you printed. 2 longer ones and 2 shorter ones. The longer ones go to, I believe it was ports 1 and 2, and the shorter ones go to 3 and 4. So when you're mounting this AMS, make sure ports 3 and 4 are facing you. I forgot to mention that. So ports 3 and 4 have to be facing you. Ports 1 and 2 face the back. So to clip the PTFE tube, guides in, it literally just pops right in. So take them, place them, pop them. When I say pop, just like press gently on them and they should pop in. Now that that's done, it should look like this. So the last step here, reconnect your PTFE tube into the head of the printer. Make sure the tubes go back into the AMS unit. And I guess you can connect them technically into any part you want, but make sure the longer cables go to ports 1 and 2 in the back and the shorter cables go to ports 3 and 4 in the front. Otherwise, you're going to run into issues. So at this point, once your PTFE tubes are in, your AMS is plugged back in, the power cable's back installed in the back again, you are ready to power on your printer and proceed with the final step. So the final step here is to reinsert all your 1 kilo spools, whether they're Bambu or generic, onto each of the spools, feed them in. You don't need to push them in all the way, just make sure they're fed in and they are held. The printer will do the rest when you power it on and do your configuration. Once this part is done, you're going to run a full calibration of your printer again. I can make a video on that, just let me know in the comments. And then you're going to assign each of the filaments to the ports. Again, I can make a video on this. Leave something in the comments and I'll make a video on that if you need to see a video on that. But that's basically it. So that's pretty much it for this portion. Next, I'm going to talk about the external spool holder that I have done. So I'll start by talking about my enclosure here. So basically my enclosure is a bunch of 2x4s that have been sanded down, cleaned, screwed in together, and then I've connected some mylar. I've stapled it onto my enclosure, and then I've put a massive acrylic sheet as the door with hinges and magnets to keep it shut. And then I've cut a part on top to basically give me an active exhaust system if I need it, or ventilation. So with that said, that's my enclosure. There's also a couple 2x4s on the top there for future stuff like the external spool holder. So what I've done is I've mounted the external spool holder on one of the 2x4s, which has been cut down the middle, so it's really like a 1x2. And I put a spool on there, and it's ready basically for external use. So with the external use, I ran a PTFE tube to the external spool holder, and then I can switch between them at any given time, and that's my solution. If you want to see a full video on that, let me know in the comment section. So that's it for this video. Look in the description for the top mount screw kit and the Maker Lab link to print all the parts. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you have any concerns or you want to see a future video, let me know as well. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you didn't, let me know why in the comments. So that's it for now. Thank you all for watching. MikeBot out.